I just want to know, who is my father for real? I'm getting married in January. He's supposed to walk me down this aisle.
I feel lost. You know, I feel confused. I don't know who I am.
That's just nasty.
Wow.
That is not my father.
You are not
Oh, God.
his father.
Oh, man. 5 years in prison.
Her father.
Miss Myers explains to the court how her need for closure led to her getting a list of 13 potential fathers from her mother, Miss Madrigal.
When I was 13 years old, I had a father figure in my life, and he died at that age. And you know, when he died, I needed closure. I needed somebody to be there. The list came from my mom telling me over approximately a year, maybe a little longer. She would always just say, you know, here's a name, you know, and I think to her it seemed like it was a joke.
Miss Madrigal shares with the court how this situation came to be.
The 13 that she's named is like 13 ghosts, fabricated.
What about Pick Any Man in Seattle?
You made
So
that
where
joke.
does this pick any man in
Hold
Seattle?
Hold on, because
When were
any friend that she met of mine, a guy friend, she'd ask him, were they her father? Really, are you serious? So my thing is this: when she'll say, "Oh, is he my dad?" I'll say, "I don't know. Could be anybody in Seattle." Since she thinks that's what it is, absolutely.
When you're to a point
it
where
could be
you're
this guy right
being
here.
raised upon,
Yeah,
see?
really.
See?
Miss Myers expresses how she feels, leading to this argument with her mom.
I feel lost. You know, I feel confused. I don't know who I am. I don't know my heritage. I don't know what I'm completely mixed with. I don't know where I came from. I don't know nothing.
You came from me.
Yeah, I
Doesn't
knew
matter.
you're half of the
Doesn't
family,
matter.
but that's only half
Nobody
the story.
else matters.
That's only half the story.
Can't no man raise me better than you can, even though it doesn't even matter.
You
So
raised me?
save it.
You
Save
raised
it.
me?
Oh, I raised you.
No, you didn't.
I raised you.
You weren't
Monica,
even there.
stop
So
it.
anyways,
And the tension starts rising with this.
I feel like I didn't have a mother, and I felt like I didn't have a father.
You got to understand, I didn't have to have you. I chose to have you.
All four.
Miss Madrigal tells the court how the timing led to having such a list.
But you got to realize I was 17. So any calculation within that time, I could have been way off and not known. Because by the time I found out, I was 4 months pregnant with her. You see what I'm saying? So there could be a list of whomever. It's the
Now she
timing.
admits
It's
to
in the
the list.
timing. Okay.
Mr. McCraney, one of the 13 potential fathers, makes some confessions that have the whole court in an uproar. And there's more.
She told me she thought I was sexy, whatever, good looking. Okay, we had sex. It was a 3-minute thing. You know, 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
She confirmed it. He swore to tell the truth.
And nothing but the truth.
Okay. So how did you find out that Ms. Madrigal was pregnant?
I did not know she was pregnant, Your Honor. I'm walking downtown Seattle where we live. I see her and the baby at the fountain. I said, oh, cute baby, who is she? She said, my daughter.
And you giggled?
Yes, yes.
Why?
I couldn't believe it, you know, 3 minutes. I understand it doesn't take that, but...
So you
only takes 2
instantly
seconds to
knew
get
that it
pregnant?
was your 3 minutes of fame that had gotten her there?
Well, Your Honor, I
not how it
also
happened.
found out, Your Honor, that when she left my house, she went to another man's house.
Sure did.
And the same
Sure
thing
did.
happened the same day.
That was the plan in the first place.
And the drama unfolds.
I said, Mom, this ugly is my dad.
Now, wait a minute. First
she
of
was
all,
much younger. She was much
you
younger.
may not watch your language around your mother, but you got to watch your language in this court. Now, that's inappropriate and disrespectful.
Your Honor,
Mr. Craner, your daughter is here, and Ms. Vernon, you have held on like I've asked you to, but I want to understand from you why you feel so strongly about Ms. Myers.
Okay, well, as far as Monica's concerned, she's talking about, oh, he's this and he's that. Well, if that's the case, then how come you got his picture on Facebook with you and your mom talking about, oh, yeah, well, is this person my dad and blah, blah, blah.
I did that because I wanted people
but
to
if,
see.
if he's such a bad guy, but if he's such a bad guy, then why would you even
I don't want
put him on
nothing to do with
Facebook
it
and say, oh, yeah, well, is he my
Because I don't want to
dad?
expose him of what he really
But you
is.
did expose him.
And what is
But you
that?
did expose him on
And what is that
Facebook to a
besides a good
stranger.
father?
Your
Besides a
good father,
good
you weren't
father.
even in Carmen's life.
Let's get
I
to
don't
the
want
facts.
nothing to do with him.
More drama, this time involving another one of the 13 potential fathers, Mr. Smith.
Around the age 19 to 20, we had a brief encounter of sex. And then one day I seen Samantha and she gave me a baby picture and told me that you're possibly the father of this child. And then I did not see her for quite a long time after that. One day I was coming out of a building and Samantha drove up with Monica in the back seat and said, there's your dad right there.
No, that first of all, I didn't walk up to you to picture. You seen her and asked me, was that your child, because of her eyes. You did that. Don't do that. You couldn't even remember where it happened. That's what's so funny.
That's because it was so brief and you were so fast, you know?
Yeah, whatever. I was so fast.
You were all over the place, Samantha, and you know it. That's why there were, what, 13, maybe 20?
You were DJ Quick, my friend. You couldn't keep it. That's your problem.
Yeah, okay. You were just too slutty, that's why.
Then, the first DNA test result reveals this first.
The DNA test results show that Mr. Smith, you are not Monica's father.
I never thought I'd have to hear that. I still love you, though.
It's okay.
However, the second result elicits several reactions from every party involved.
Mr. Keith McCraney, it has been determined by this court that you are the father.
There it is.
Did you faint, Mr. McCraney?
I
don't
what?
believe that at all.
Whoa.
No, they must have got their tests mixed up
You
or
are
something
the
backstage.
father.
There's no way. They must have got their tests mixed up.
This video starts brutally with this confession from Mr. Manser, leading to drama in the court.
12 hours of my life cost me 5 years in the Department of Corrections. She was a friend of my aunt. She was best friends with my aunt. We all lived in the same little community. She lived across the street. I knew of her. I knew her. I've spoken to her. But as far as intimacy, we was together one time, and I hate to be crude, but it was a one-night stand.
I don't care what your version was. I was far from a one-night stand.
Living across the street from each other?
Far from a one-night
My wife's
stand.
gonna be upset because I live across the street from somebody. I'm not dating him.
Oh, if I was your wife, I wouldn't trust you for nothing.
I don't think after all of this that has transpired, it really matters whether it was a one-night stand or a two-day trip.
My biggest concern.
The point is you all had a sexual relationship at some point, so there is a possibility that he's the father of your son, Dylan.
Possibility.
Okay.
I didn't find out anything about the child until I was served with papers in 1995.
And so you showed up for court, and what happened?
No, I wasn't able to.
I wasn't
able to show up for court. I was completely on the other side of the state.
Then, some more stories about the whole situation.
I was indigent. I was living at my mom's, didn't have a job at the time. So I didn't show up for court, and I was named the natural father by default.
And then what happens?
And then I was charged criminally for not paying the child support that was ordered in the default judgment.
So how did you get arrested?
That came 3 years later after I still didn't pay child support, still wasn't able to pay. I still had doubt. I've never, to this day, thank God for your show, or I'd never know for sure whether or not I was the natural father. Never.
If you would have showed up for court, you would have known.
I couldn't show up for court.
Why?
There's a lot of people.
I got there.
Well, you live in the same town.
Well, I got there just fine.
I'm sure you did.
I wasn't busy running away from everybody.
Did you? That's right.
You didn't pay child support for about 8 years. Quit telling them it's 3 years. It was about 8 years.
The court order was 1995. I got arrested in 1998, so that's 3 years in my calculation. 12 years. And then I went to prison for 5 years. When I got out of prison in 2003, I paid child support from that day until just February of last year when I lost my...
Mr. Manser admits this to Judge Lauren regarding his case.
The pain that you've endured and what you've gone through is in part because...
My stubbornness.
Thank you.
Yeah, my stubbornness.
And you are a living example of that.
And it needs to be known out there.
So now as you're being hauled off to court, you're still adamant and you're saying, I'm not the father of this child.
I'm saying I've never been proven to be the father of this child.
Judge Lauren then discloses the content of the first DNA test result done.
I do see that for alleged father, it's entirely blank.
That's right.
Meaning
imagine that.
There is no social security number.
That's right.
There is no address.
She forgot to put that part in there.
There is no information about you. It's all blank. There's no picture of you. There's no photograph.
She didn't have that information. That's right. Exactly.
So, obviously, your contention that you didn't show up, you weren't there for this particular test is
You're
true.
right.
Because there's no evidence that you were there on that
exactly
day.
Right. Thank
We've
you, Your
established
Honor.
that.
Thank you.
We do, however, see a lab record of a collection taken on May the 1st, 1995, which they claim was you.
The drama unfolds.
Miss Sear, you're saying that he expressed no doubt to you as to whether or not Dylan was his son until he was around 18?
Not until Dylan turned 18.
Don't you think the fact that I have nothing to do with it would express doubt?
You even had nothing to do with 3 of your kids, including the one
I got
sitting
one
there.
right here.
Not until he was 13.
I got one right now. Yeah, because I was in prison for 5 years.
Do the math. That's not 13 years.
I'm not winning no awards. I'm here to tell you that I didn't submit a DNA test.
At least on my part, he made up for it.
And here's how Miss Sear is feeling.
I feel like I have never, ever deserved disrespect. I was not the woman that showed up at your doorstep every 2 months. You're going to be my baby's daddy. I have never disrespected you. I let you be and live your life and live your selfish life you have lived for the last 20 years.
However, the DNA test result is a shocker to all.
As it pertains to 20-year-old Dylan Sear, Mr. Manser, you are not
God.
his father.
Oh, man. 5 years in prison.
But there's more.
That is fraud.
I know you're upset. I know it's overwhelming. I need a moment with Dylan because I want to make sure he understands. Do you want to find out who your father is?
Of course.
Miss Sear, do you know?
Yes, ma'am.
You know who his father is?
Yes, I talk to him still.
Yeah.
Listen.
Get away from my son.
He apologized.
And under another breath, he's calling me a liar.
You cannot stand there and really suggest that you cannot comprehend why this man would not have any type of ill feeling, frustration, or regret as it relates to anything involving you. 5 years in prison.
Mr. Jackson Jr. shares with the court how this paternity case has ruined him.
Your Honor, it has definitely ruined me financially wise, health wise, mental wise. It's at the point where I can't get driver's license, I can't get passport, I used to couldn't keep a job. It ruined my heart, Your Honor, to where I have a pacemaker in me now.
The stress of it.
The stress of it, it ruined my heart.
How long have you been paying support, sir?
I've been paying support since I was maybe 30, Your Honor. I started working for a private contractor. For 18 years, Your Honor, I did not know that I owed child support. And I get a job with a paycheck. It's when I find out I owe child support. Already at that time, I'm $13,000 behind.
In arrears.
Yes. So I could never catch up, Your Honor.
Because the penalties kept accruing. And now you're more than $25,000
Yes,
in
Your
debt.
Honor.
At 63 years old.
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Jackson tells the court she has no doubts. However, this was how she knew about Mr. Jackson Jr.'s doubts.
I have no doubt that this is my biological father.
When were you made aware that he had these doubts?
I was always told by him as a young girl that he had doubts. He would basically just try to mention, things like, he didn't think that, he was the only man that my mom slept with. And
how old were you when he was saying this?
I was like 9 or 10 or 11 years old.
At 9 or 10, you were having to process that information?
Yes.
Mr. Jackson, did you tell her that young that you thought her mom may have slept with somebody else?
I did tell her I had my doubts that her mom was young at that time and she was seeing more than one person.
Miss Jackson also discloses the relationship she had with Mr. Jackson Jr. growing up.
It wasn't the kind of relationship that most daughters would have with their father.
What kind of relationship was it?
I considered him as a homie.
A homie?
Yeah, as a homeboy. And because of that, he never treated me as if I was really his daughter.
Wait, I need to understand that. What do you mean as a homeboy?
Well, because I was never really embraced by Mr. Jackson as his daughter. I was always feeling like I was just someone there who he had a relationship with my mom, that I was just there.
Mr. Jackson Jr. then confesses this in court.
At the time I was married.
Oh, okay.
And I knew it was wrong. but I did it.
So what happened when she told you she was pregnant?
I told her it was not my child, Your Honor.
Did you say that because you didn't believe that was your child, or did you say that because you knew you were married and you knew you were wrong?
At that time, I believed a little both, Your Honor.
Okay, that's honest.
And some more confessions with reactions from Miss Jackson.
For years, I really didn't know where they were, Your Honor.
That's not true. He knew where we were. Mr. Jackson, he chose to live the life that he chose to live. He knew where we were. We wasn't very far. I stayed in contact with his mother. I stayed in contact with my siblings.
How did you know, as a child, that he knew, Mr. Jackson, where you and your mother were?
Well, he's on my birth certificate first and foremost.
And some more revelations.
I am not a bad person. I have love in my heart for kids. I have taken care of kids that's not even mine, Your Honor.
But why he never treated me like a daughter, since he has so much love in his heart? Why was I always treated like little trash off the street?
No, I've reached out to her at times and times, but she goes into a shell where she don't talk to nobody, she don't call nobody.
What about the time I asked Mr. Jackson when I was 9 or 10 years old? Him and my mother came back together to live together, and we had ice cream trucks in the neighborhood. So one day I asked my Mr. Jackson if I could have 25 cents so that I could buy ice cream, and he told me he didn't have it. And I said, well, do you have 10 cents, 15 cents, a nickel? And he said that he didn't have either or. But I would see him go to the liquor store and buy alcohol or whatever he would, you know.
And here, Miss Jackson expresses how the whole situation has affected her life.
That has caused some tremendous pain, some serious psychological issues in my life, to the point to where I've had issues with choosing functional men. I can't choose functional men because I don't know what that looks like.
Mr. Jackson Jr. also claims this as another reason for his doubt.
Most of my kids, all of them, as a matter of fact, when they get nervous or lying even, they'll stutter. She doesn't have that.
After both parties expressed their minds, the DNA test result reveals.
Mr. Jackson Jr., you are her father.
Miss Hall's mother, Miss West, tells the court that her daughter's son has nothing to be thirsty for, as claimed by Mr. Richard, who refused to provide any child support.
He does nothing. He denies her son, but basically he have nothing for her to be thirsty for. What's she thirsty for? He ain't got nothing. She just made a mistake and messed with somebody and got a baby, and now we trying to see if my grandson, let him know that he's the dad.
And the drama begins.
So this time, felt like maybe I was wrong for the way I ended things last time, so I gave her another chance.
So how did you reach out to her?
Instagram, DM, told her, hey, she replied, and it went from there.
So how is she thirsty if he hit her up?
The thirst is going both ways, ma'am.
But he called her thirsty, though.
I would admit I was being thirsty also.
And Mr. Richard says this, plus Miss West reacts.
I knew I wasn't gonna have a long relationship with her, but when you feed somebody the lines that you know they wanna hear, that's thirst to get what you want from them.
Oh! But yet now it's a baby involved with your thirst.
And now I feel like she's being thirsty, trying to put the baby on me.
But you got nothing.
So,
I must got something if you want something. That's why we're here.
Judge Lauren makes the whole court see the real situation, which in her own words is manipulation.
Thirst is manipulation.
Yeah.
So you were extra thirsty.
A little bit.
Because you reached out to her and was manipulating the situation to bring her back into the picture. Because you just wanted to what? Date her again? Because you said to me you did it because you thought the last time it didn't really end right.
Yeah, that was probably something I told her that she wanted to hear, Your Honor.
No, you told me that. So don't tell me what you think she want to hear. Tell me the truth.
I mean, that's the truth.
Did you reach back out to her because you felt like you wanted to rekindle the relationship because you thought it went wrong? Or did you reach back out to her because you just wanted to be involved with her for the time being?
For the time being, Your Honor.
Mr. Richards then drops a bomb in his explanation as to why he broke up with Miss Hall.
Her mom pulled up to drop off some water or some soda or something, and when she went out there, I grabbed her phone and went through her phone, and The text message is from someone saying that I'm outside. So when I go outside to get the water, I look across the street, it's the same dude I seen coming out the gate. So I'm like, whoa. I didn't say anything, and I probably spent the rest of that day on the couch till the bus came. Bus came, I hopped on the bus. Soon as I got on the bus, officially on the bus, I sent the message, like, I seen the messages in your phone, but I seen the guy across the street, and that's where it ended. I told her to block my number.
Okay, so had you all made some type of commitment to one another? What would give you the right to take her phone, look in it, and then be angry if somebody was texting her?
Especially she paying her own bills.
It sounds like,
He
in a
was
little
looking
way.
for something.
Well, it sounds like you went there to play her, and then you got played, and then you didn't.
Or you could say I was looking for a reason not to talk to her anymore.
Ms. Hall then shares with the court what went down when she discovered she was pregnant. Plus, Mr. Richards reacts.
I knew, but I didn't want to tell him because how we broke up and how disrespectful he was to me.
So you just kept it to yourself?
Yeah, I didn't tell nobody until me and my mom sat down and she asked me because the conception date.
When she told me her due date, we discussed it, and I told her, even if it's gonna be a problem, tell him so he can't never say that he didn't know and that you never told him.
And so did you do that? Did you follow your mom's advice?
Yeah, I told him, and this is the result.
You reached out to him?
Yeah.
By phone, by text, how?
By Instagram.
By Instagram?
Because he had me blocked on everything.
And what was his response?
It's not his.
That's what you told her, Mr. Richards?
She told me that she was pregnant, and I was like, okay, and whose is it? And she said, yours. And then I was like, so what happened to the other guy I seen? Like, what happened to the other guy I heard about?
And some more drama unfolds.
I wasn't looking for a reason. That was a reason that I gave her. That was the reason I gave her. I already had it in my head I was done with her. That was the reason that she gave me that I put out there. So when she asked me, why am I done? That was the reason I gave her. And it was a hell of a good one.
What I'm trying to understand is how we got to the point where there's so much doubt surrounding her pregnancy when you admittedly, Mr. Richards, went to visit her, slept with her unprotected for almost an entire week, and left 2 days before the prescribed conception date, which we know makes you fall in that window. What else?
Other than me seeing that guy in the messages, there was just my relative heard from one of her relatives that she was living with the man the whole time she was pregnant with another man.
She never lived with nobody.
Well, not live with him, he lived with her, whatever.
He's saying hearsay because he don't even know that to be true.
But
he just bringing up something like he did with the brother.
That's just through the grapevines.
Ultimately, the paternity test result reveals.
Mr. Richards, you are the father.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Miss Precious Razor tells the court the conversation she overheard with her parents, which is what led to this paternity case.
I started to hear a lot of noise in my mom's bedroom. He coming out the room, going to the kitchen saying, well, those ain't my kids anyway, so I was doing you a favor, and left out the door. Yes, really? Yes, really.
And the parents react.
Your mother made a comment that really didn't sit too well with me, and it hurt me. You guys didn't hear the whole comment.
No, I was just mad. You know I was mad. I was just mad.
Miss Razor expresses how she felt then, which the judge agrees with.
I was in shock. I was just like, how you just gonna, despite the argument, how you just gonna leave without saying bye, hug? They argue, that's cool. But when you got your children and you arguing with your spouse, that don't got nothing to do with us. You understand what I'm saying?
I do understand what you're saying.
Mr. Hector Huns also expresses how he felt when he overheard the same conversation, leading to a family drama in the court.
Me and my friends, actually, and I was just sitting there like, whoa.
We was having a get-together. Everybody was at the house.
So, Mr. Jacobs, did you make that comment?
Yes, I did, Your Honor, but I don't believe my children heard the whole comment.
It had me so stressed out, Your Honor, where I went on Facebook and I thought the whole world was against me, and I posted, I'm crying gangster tears.
And you know, I'm the stronger one. Even though I'm the little sister, I act like the big sister, but for him to make that statement was just ridiculous. All right, Mom.
Because
so
they didn't hear the whole comment.
For him to make that statement, why did you make that statement? Why did you say what you said for him to say what he said?
Because maybe he's not your father, Precious.
What
maybe he's not.
What you mean?
Maybe he's not. I don't know. Maybe he's not.
So what you was doing, Ma?
And the tension keeps rising with this.
For all my life. He's been there for my kindergarten graduation, my 6th grade graduation. How many men do you know sit in a delivery room with their daughter when they're having a baby? Okay? For you to make that statement and for him to... Listen, is there something that you need to tell us? Is there something that you need to tell me?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know who's the father. I just don't know. I don't know.
So explain the different last names. Why my name is Razor, his name is Hunt,
Where I get Hunt
his name is Jacob,
Where I
and
get
your
Hunt
name
from?
is Hammonds.
Where I get Hunt from?
You say his name came from grandma. He been there for everything. Everything.
I know, Precious.
I'm getting married in January. He's supposed to walk me down this aisle.
He will.
And you gotta tell me the truth. What is wrong? Tell me.
Because I don't know, Precious. I just don't know.
And then more family drama as another man, Mr. Tommy Farmer, is involved in the whole situation.
Yes, we had a physical relationship. It wasn't a relationship.
You call that your brother.
Ms. Hammonds, were you intimate with Mr. Farmer? Is what he's saying true?
That's
Yes,
Uncle
ma'am.
Tommy.
Yes, ma'am.
That's just nasty. That's just nasty.
Wow.
That is not my father. That's not my father.
Precious.
No, no,
There's a
no,
possibility I
no.
could be your father.
Jerome, would you please go check on Miss Razor?
Certainly. Do you see what you did? Do you see
That's
what you did?
crazy.
Just this whole thing
You
tears the whole
sleeping with
family
him?
apart.
You sleeping with him?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
No,
So
I'm
you are sorry.
Ms. Hammonds, so you
Well.
do admit that you had a sexual relationship with Mr. Farmer some 26 years ago?
Yes,
around
ma'am.
the time Precious was conceived.
Yes.
You're admitting that here today.
Yes, ma'am.
But you were not having a sexual relationship with him during the time Hector was conceived.
Ms. Precious breaks down as she expresses how this paternity case is affecting her.
I just want to know who is my father for real. But he's still gonna walk me down this aisle in January. But I haven't opened up to my fiance the way I should, because I don't know who I am inside no more. I'm so angry. I can't even talk to him. I always want to fight. I always want to lash out. I'm always angry. And I don't know why. I just want to get to the bottom of it.
Then the first DNA test result reveals.
Mr. Farmer,
Yes.
you are not
Yes!
her father.
Oh, my God! Oh! Oh, my God! Oh.
The second one says this, causing lots of heartbreaks.
Mr. Jacobs, you
Are the father.
You are the father.
are not her father.
No.
This is my daughter right here. This is my baby right here.
The third DNA test result about Mr. Hector Hunt discloses.
As it pertains to 33-year-old Hector Hunt, Mr. Jacobs, you are not Hector's father.
Oh, you is scandalous.
And the case ends with more devastating news for the family.
I thought I knew the truth. That's why I was so strong about knowing the truth.
I understand.
And that's not even all of it. I have to tell Hector something.
What would you like to tell your son?
I'm not his mother.
What? Are you serious? You're not his mother.
What do you mean?
He's my cousin's son. She died at childbirth.
So when I went to jail, when you told me that you was pregnant, you had me believe most time that was my son.
What? Come on, man. Nah, man. Yo.
I'm the cousin.
Mr. Hunt,
So this is not my real brother?